The rumor is that King Charles isn't doing too well health-wise, and the palace has been updating his funeral plans. So with that in mind, here's our list of 10 things that will happen when King Charles passes away. Starting off, we have Operation Menai Bridge starts. Operation Menai Bridge is the code name for the detailed plans that will be triggered when King Charles dies and ensures that the public announcement and the state funeral run smoothly. Now, why this name? Well, Menai Bridge is a suspension bridge in Wales. Now this makes a lot of sense because Charles is known to have a strong relationship with Wales, but yes, this code word means that the king has died. Next up is the announcement. Now, as soon as the king dies, the palace will make a number of phone calls, all simply using the code words Operation Menai Bridge. It's said that the Prime Minister will be called first, followed by the government. The Foreign Office will then inform the 15 governments where King Charles is head of state, and the 39 nations in the rest of the Commonwealth where he is a symbolic figurehead. Next, the news will go to the BBC, so they have the necessary time to prepare, but they are not allowed to announce anything until the palace does. Then there will also be a notice at the palace and on social media. Then the BBC will air special programs. Like how we saw with Queen Elizabeth, following the initial announcement, the BBC will change its programming, and we can expect to see a lot of coverage of the king's life. Now, the BBC most likely started putting together archival footage the moment his mother died, or even before, to be prepared. Plus, it's common practice that the media have obituaries prepared for all senior royals years in advance. Moving on to William immediately becoming king. William is number 1 in the royal line of succession. The minute his father dies, William is king. The spirit of kingship descends upon him, and the weight of the crown shifts to him, while the rituals will later affirm it. The day after the king's death, the meeting of the Ascension Council will take place. All the necessary documents will be signed, and William will swear an oath and be proclaimed King William V. He will then go on the balcony of St. James's Palace to address the public for the first time as the new king. Now let's talk about how Kate will be Queen Consort. Kate, the current Princess of Wales, will automatically become Queen Consort since she is married to William. Consort simply means that she's the wife of the monarch, and the Queen Consort does not have any constitutional power, nor is she head of state. Now her task is to support the king as best she can in fulfilling all the duties that come with the crown. Then Camilla will become Queen Dowager. If Queen Camilla outlives her husband, she will most likely become Queen Dowager. Dowager means that she is the widow of the last king, and she will always remain a queen and her royal highness, but she will no longer be the queen. The decision about the title ultimately lands in the hands of William, as does the fate of many other aspects of Camilla's life. Now we have Prince George getting a new title. With his father now the new sovereign, William's oldest son, Prince George, will not only further move up the royal ladder, but automatically receive a new title. As soon as William is king, George becomes the Duke of Cornwall in England and the Duke of Roughborough in Scotland. It will be up to his father, though, if he immediately makes him Prince of Wales as well, or if he waits. Prince George will become heir apparent, meaning he will now be first in line for the throne, while his siblings, Princess Charlotte and Prince Louis, will become second and third. On to William touring the nation. Even though he has just lost his father, William will be expected to put on a brave face to comfort the public. He will tour the kingdom in the days following his father's death and visit Northern Ireland, Wales, and Scotland. He will also have to make an appearance at the capital, and as the new king, you have to put your grief on hold as you meet a bunch of people. Up next is that the king will lay in state. If you followed the coverage of Queen Elizabeth's death, you will remember the pictures of people waiting in line for the public viewing at Westminster Abbey prior to the state funeral. Now, some stood in the queue for more than 24 hours to bid farewell to the late monarch in person, and the line was 10 miles long at peak times. So, what happens when King Charles dies? Well, pretty much the same, as the public viewing is part of the official death plan. And finally, the king will have a state funeral. The monarch's state funeral usually takes place 10 days after his or her death. Now, the state funeral, during which hundreds of thousands of people people are expected to line up along the route in central London will be broadcast live around the world. Now, after the king's funeral at Westminster Abbey and the procession through the crowds, his body will be brought to Windsor Castle. Many senior royals have been buried in the St. George's Chapel inside the castle for centuries, and Charles will join them. Well, that's all for our list of the 10 things that will happen when King Charles passes away. To be honest, it's very similar to what happened with Queen Elizabeth, so there shouldn't be too many surprises.